All right, so we're diving into Social Pedagogue interview prep today. We've got some great guides from RoleCatcher, sample questions, all that good stuff.
Yeah, this is going to be fun.
It is going to be fun.
Yeah.
So if you're out there getting ready for one of these interviews, this is going to be the episode for you.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So
Let's just jump right in.
yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So social pedagogy, it's kind of a unique field, right? It's not just teaching, not just caregiving. It's this interesting blend.
Yeah, it's really this unique approach.
Yeah.
You're empowering these young people to really kind of take charge of their own learning and development. It's really cool to see.
It is really cool. And I think it's a field that's really growing too.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of demand out there for people who can do this work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people are really starting to see the value in this holistic approach.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's jump right into these sample questions. RoleCatcher has a whole bunch of them, and they're great. The first one is, describe your experience with developing and implementing social pedagogical interventions.
Sure.
What do you think the interviewer is really trying to get at with this question?
Yeah, I think they're really trying to see, do you really know what this is? Can you go beyond the textbook definition? Have you actually done this?
Right. So it's not enough to just say, I'm familiar with social pedagogy.
Right.
You've got to show them.
Give them a story. Yeah.
Yeah, give them a story, like a real world example
Exactly.
of how you've actually used this to help someone.
Yeah, like walk them through a specific situation where you use social pedagogy to help a young person. Maybe you were working with a child who was having trouble making friends. You could talk about how you designed a program, used games and activities to help them develop those social skills, and then really focus on the outcome. What was the impact? Did the child start making friends? Did their confidence grow?
Right, so you got to paint that picture for them. And I bet RoleCatcher's AI could even help with this too, right? Like,
Yeah.
they have that feature where it analyzes job descriptions.
Yeah. Absolutely. One of the things it does is it scans the job description. And it picks out the key skills the employer is looking for. So if they're emphasizing collaboration, to really highlight those teamwork skills in your examples.
Oh, that's so smart.
It's like having a secret weapon.
It is like a secret weapon. I love that. Okay, next question. How do you collaborate with other professionals, like teachers, psychologists, social workers, to support the social and emotional development of children and young people?
This one seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, on the surface. But remember, interviewers are always looking for those deeper layers. They want to see that you understand the value of teamwork, that you can work effectively as part of this multidisciplinary team.
So how do we take this answer to the next level?
Think about a time when you had to work with other professionals to support a child's needs. Did you collaborate with a teacher on a learning plan? Work with a therapist to develop coping mechanisms? Share those experiences and highlight how your collaboration led to positive outcomes for that child. Yeah, and I bet they could ask some tricky follow-up questions here too. Like, how do you handle disagreements with colleagues?
Oh, absolutely. They want to know how you handle conflict. Be prepared to talk about a time when you had a different opinion than another professional. How did you approach that? Were you able to find a compromise that was in the best interest of the child?
Okay, so it's not just about saying you're a team player. It's about showing them that you can actually navigate all the complexities of teamwork.
Exactly. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful. You can practice these tough questions and get feedback.
Cool, it gives you feedback.
Yeah, the AI will analyze your answers, tell you if you're hitting the right points.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
It's like having an interview coach.
In your pocket.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sold. All right, let's move on. How do you assess the social and emotional needs of children and young people? That seems pretty broad.
Yeah, that's intentional. They want to see how you think. How do you approach this crucial part of social pedagogy?
Right. So it's about more than just noticing a child is withdrawn. You have to figure out why.
Exactly. You're gathering information, forming a holistic picture.
Okay.
So talk about the different methods you use. Do you talk to the child directly? Observe their interactions? Consult with parents and teachers?
Like you're a detective.
Yes. Love that analogy. Piecing together all the clues.
Yeah.
And you know what? RoleCatcher can help here too.
Really?
Their AI can analyze your practice answers, suggest keywords that might resonate with the interviewer.
Oh, so like industry jargon.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. All right, next question. How do you facilitate the development of social and emotional skills in children and young people? This one's getting to the core of it.
Absolutely. This is your chance to showcase your toolbox, the strategies you use.
Okay, so like communication skills, empathy.
Yeah, conflict resolution, all of that.
Oh.
It's about thinking beyond the classroom.
So not just lectures and worksheets.
Right.
You got to make it fun.
Exactly.
Games, role-playing, art projects, outdoor activities.
Yeah. Make it engaging and highlight the impact. Did you see improvements in their behavior? Did you notice a positive shift in the classroom dynamic?
I love that.
Mm.
All right, tougher question, I think. How do you engage parents and caregivers in the social and emotional development of their children?
Ooh, yeah. This one can be tricky.
Because sometimes parents don't want to be involved.
Exactly. Or they might have different ideas about what's best.
Right.
But it's still a crucial part of social pedagogy.
Okay, so how do we show the interviewers that want to handle this?
Share some concrete examples of how you've successfully engaged parents in the past. Did you organize workshops or support groups? Create individual communication plans.
Okay, so it's really personalized.
It is.
That makes a lot of sense.
And be prepared for those follow-up questions.
I'll bet there are some.
They might ask about a time you faced resistance from a parent. How did you handle that? Were you able to find a compromise?
Right.
Or what if a parent's expectations don't align with your professional assessment?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is, but you've got to show them you can navigate those complexities.
With sensitivity and respect.
Yes. And guess what? RoleCatcher can help here too.
No way, really. What else can it do?
The video analysis feature can give you feedback on your nonverbal communication.
Wait, what?
Like your facial expressions, your body language. It even picks up on cues you might not be aware of.
So it's like having a body language expert.
Basically,
Wow.
It's really valuable for building trust and rapport.
That is incredible.
Right.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground already, but we have a lot more to go. We'll be back in part 2 to tackle even more of these questions.
Sounds good. Welcome back.
Okay, so we left off talking about engaging parents and caregivers
Right.
and some of the challenges that come with that. Like sometimes they might not be on board with your recommendations.
Yeah, definitely happens.
Okay, so here's another tough question from RoleCatcher. Describe a time you faced resistance from a parent or caregiver.
Ooh, yeah. This one's all about conflict resolution. Showing them you can handle those tough conversations.
So how do we answer this without sounding defensive?
It's about framing it the right way. Start by acknowledging that parents are invested and that sometimes perspectives differ. Then share a specific example.
Okay, so like a time when you recommended a learning approach
Yeah.
and the parents weren't happy about it.
Exactly. Walk them through your process. Did you listen to their concerns? Explain your reasoning. Work together to find a compromise.
Right, it's all about collaboration
It
and
is.
staying professional throughout.
Absolutely. You want to show them you can handle these situations with sensitivity and respect.
And I bet RoleCatcher's AI can help us practice this too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You can record yourself answering this question, and the AI analyzes your response.
Really?
Yeah, it looks at your words, your tone of voice, even your facial expressions,
Wow.
and it gives you feedback. Tells you if you're coming across as defensive or confident.
So it's like having a communication coach.
Right there in your pocket.
That's amazing. Okay, another one along these lines. How do you handle a situation where a parent's expectations don't align with your professional assessment?
This one's tricky.
Yeah, you've got to be really careful here.
It's all about finding that balance between respecting the parent's perspective and staying true to your professional judgment.
Okay, so how do we walk that tightrope?
Give them an example. Maybe a parent thinks their child is ready for a certain program, but your assessment says they need more support. You can explain how you'd approach that conversation.
With empathy and transparency.
Exactly.
You'd present the assessment results clearly
Maybe highlight the child's strengths and areas for growth.
and involve other professionals if needed
Right, like a school psychologist.
to get a more well-rounded perspective.
Exactly.
It's about creating that team approach.
Even when there are differences of opinion.
Okay, let's move on to a different kind of question. This one's more about your approach to social pedagogy. How do you evaluate the effectiveness of your interventions?
This one's all about showing them you're results-oriented, that you're not just doing things randomly.
You're tracking your progress,
Right.
making sure you're actually making a difference.
Exactly.
So how do we answer this one?
Talk about the tools and methods you use. Do you use pre- and post-tests? Observations? Do you gather feedback from the children themselves?
And from parents and teachers.
Yes. It's about getting a complete picture.
Okay, so you've got to have a system in place.
to track your progress and make adjustments as needed.
That makes sense.
And you know what? RoleCatcher can actually help with this too.
Really? I'm not surprised at this point.
They have AI-powered tools that can help you create personalized evaluation frameworks.
Wow.
So instead of starting from scratch, you have a structure tailored to your specific interventions.
Okay, that's super helpful.
And it can analyze your data and generate reports.
That's amazing.
It's like having a data analyst on your team.
Yeah, it takes all the guesswork out of it. All right, next question. How do you stay up to date with current research and best practices in social pedagogy?
Yes, this is about lifelong learning. Showing them you're committed to professional development.
Right, because this field is constantly changing.
It is.
You don't want to get left behind.
Exactly.
So what are some good resources we can mention?
Talk about journals you subscribe to, conferences you attend, online forums, anything like that.
Right. And it's not just about reading articles.
No, it's about applying what you learn.
Putting those new ideas into practice.
Exactly.
So share an example of how you did that. Maybe you incorporated a new research finding into your work.
Perfect example.
Hmm?
It shows you're not just following trends, but actually thinking critically about how to improve your practice.
And guess what? RoleCatcher can help here too.
Of course they can.
What do they have for this?
They curate all the latest research and best practices, so you don't have to spend hours searching for it.
Oh, wow. That's convenient.
And they offer personalized recommendations for professional development opportunities.
Like conferences and workshops.
Exactly.
Okay, RoleCatcher is seriously impressive.
They really are.
All right, let's get to a really important question. How do you address cultural diversity and social justice in your practice as a social pedagogue?
This one's crucial. It's about showing them you understand how cultural differences and systemic inequities can impact a child's development.
So it's not just about being culturally sensitive.
It's about actively creating an inclusive environment.
Where every child feels valued.
Exactly.
So what are some specific things we can talk about?
Talk about how you incorporate cultural awareness into your work. Do you use diverse materials? Adapt your communication style to different cultural norms.
Right. It's about recognizing each child's unique background.
And valuing their experiences.
And addressing issues of bias and discrimination.
Absolutely. Talk about how you challenge stereotypes, create opportunities for children to share their perspectives.
It's about making sure every child feels safe and respected.
And empowered to be themselves.
Okay, so be prepared for follow-up questions here too.
They might ask you to describe a specific situation where you had to navigate a cross-cultural misunderstanding, or how you advocated for a child facing discrimination.
So it's not just about talking the talk.
You've got to walk the walk.
And RoleCatcher has resources on this too, right?
Tons of them. Articles, case studies, best practice guides.
All right, I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Ready to move on to the final part.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we covered a lot in part 2.
We did a lot of great stuff.
But we're not done yet.
Nope. Still got some more questions to tackle.
Okay, so this one I think is really interesting. Describe a time when you had to navigate a cross-cultural misunderstanding. We talked about cultural sensitivity before.
Right.
But this seems like they want a more personal story.
Yeah, they want to hear about your own experience, how you handled a real-life situation.
So what's the best way to approach this one?
Honesty and humility are key here. It's okay to admit you've made mistakes. Nobody's perfect.
Right. Especially when you're working with people from different backgrounds.
Exactly.
So you're saying we should share a specific example.
Yeah, and focus on the steps you took to resolve it. Did you listen to the other person's perspective? Did you try to learn more about their culture?
Okay, so it's about showing that you're open to learning and growing.
Right.
What's a good example we could use?
Let's say you are working with a family, and their cultural beliefs about expressing emotions were different from yours.
Right.
Maybe they were very reserved, and you misinterpreted their silence as disinterest.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, it happens. So you could talk about how you realized your mistake, how you learned more about their communication style, and how you adjusted your approach.
Right, so it's about being adaptable and respectful.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a really helpful example.
Good.
All right, here's another one. How have you worked to create a more inclusive classroom or learning environment?
This is your chance to shine.
Yeah, if you've got some good examples.
It's all about action, showing them you're not just talking about diversity.
But actually doing something about it.
Right.
So what kind of things could we talk about here?
Specific initiatives you've implemented, activities you've designed to promote inclusion.
Okay.
Have you incorporated diverse perspectives into your curriculum, created opportunities for students to share their traditions?
Right, so it's about making everyone feel welcome and represented.
Exactly.
And don't forget to talk about the impact.
Yes. Did you see a positive change in the classroom? Did students become more engaged?
Those details are important.
They are.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to mention RoleCatcher one more time.
Of course.
We've talked about their AI a lot today.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. It can help with everything from analyzing job descriptions to practicing your answers, even giving you feedback on your body language.
It's a game changer for interview prep.
It really is.
Right.
But I think what's most impressive is that it's not just about getting the job.
Right.
It's about becoming a better professional.
It helps you identify your strengths and weaknesses, learn and grow, and ultimately become the best social pedagogue you can be.
That's so well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
Let your passion shine through. Social pedagogy is more than just a job. It's a calling.
I love that.
So let that enthusiasm guide you.
Okay, and remember, with thorough preparation, a solid understanding of social pedagogy, and RoleCatcher's AI on your side, you got everything you need to ace that interview
Absolutely.
and embark on this amazing career path.
Good luck, everyone.
All right, that's a wrap on our deep dive. We hope you found it helpful. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making a difference.